Dear student, I'm speaking to you from my attic office. Given that many of you hardly know me, it's probably difficult to believe that someone so distant misses being with you. But I do. When I record these messages, however, there is a part of me which feels that our separation disappears, and for a brief moment, we are together again. The lockdown has not been entirely negative for my wife and I. Our children have, by force of law, had to spend 10 weeks in our company, and most evenings we have sat and eaten together. We live outside London, and so the only days that I have commuted have been those when I have been working at the hospital. This has meant that I have spent more sustained time with my 18 and 20-year-olds than at any time since they were born, and it has been brilliant. I'm not entirely sure they agree. My 18-year-old has had his A-levels completely disrupted, and we wait to discover what grades the system will grant him. Like his father, he tends to leave his work to the last minute, so he didn't work that hard before his mock exams, though he has worked very hard since. Furthermore, he is deeply disappointed that the year he had planned before he starts university has been thrown into disarray. My 20-year-old is desperate to get back to his college. He had the most fantastic first year, and he has made very important relationships with his uni friends, and he really misses them and the community that they had developed. I vividly remember how intense my friendships were at college. I remember falling in love for the first time. I remember pitiful infatuations, the pain of rejection, and the elation of being invited to parties and dancing ridiculously. I remember being worried about rent, never having enough money, being young and healthy and facing a future which was still to be properly understood. I also remember doing my postgraduate degrees. I remember working very hard and the ambivalence that I felt about a thesis, the love-hate relationship with something that was both fascinating and all-consuming to the exclusion of important other stuff. Now, I'm telling you this because I have not entirely forgotten what it was like to be a student, and this allows me to have some small insight into the mix of emotions many of you are probably feeling about next term. In a conversation the other day, my eldest son mentioned a musician called Nick Cave, who he thinks is amazing. He suggested that I read a speech that he gave to the Vienna Poetry Society called The Secret Life of the Love Song. His lecture hooked me, and I started listening to his music, and I have to confess, I love it. In one of his songs called Are You the One I'm Waiting For, he sings a great verse. Out of sorrow, entire worlds have been built, and out of longing, great wonders have been willed. You, me, and all our colleagues, teachers and friends within the Faculty of Medicine are facing tremendous uncertainty. We don't know exactly what the future holds. We don't know if there is going to be a second peak of this hideous virus, and if there is, when it will be. We are not completely sure what non-campus experience will look like during the autumn term. We can't predict how much time you will be able to spend with your friends, and I can't tell you precisely what the college is going to look like. It's very disappointing. However, what I can tell you for certain is that your faculty and support staff are working as hard as they possibly can to ensure that whatever happens, we will deliver the education that you need to progress and go out into the world with the skills and attributes you will need to succeed. Next term is not going to be easy, but if we work together and listen to each other, I'm convinced that in the longer term, there is the promise of a great future for all of us. Out of longing, great wonders have been willed. In the book where I found the lecture by Nick Cave, there are a number of brilliant speeches. One that caught my eye was that written for the Queen to give to the nation should there ever be a World War III. It is very moving. Those of you who have read my letters or heard me speak in the past know that I see the Faculty of Medicine as a large, often difficult, and very complex family. It's with this in mind that my eyes caught the following paragraph from the Queen's speech. It is the close bond of family that must be our greatest defence against the unknown. If families remain united and resolute, giving shelter to the lonely and unprotected, our will cannot be broken. You will have received and will be receiving a number of communications over the coming days about the autumn term. Behind them is a Faculty of Medicine which is held together by a complex web of relationships and bonds of mutual respect and dependence. This makes us resilient. Our academic resilience means we have the capacity to provide you with what you need to progress, irrespective of what happens. Our emotional resilience means we can talk and walk with those of you who are feeling isolated or depressed. And our financial resilience means we have the capacity, alongside our colleagues in advancement, to raise the money we need to help support those of you who are struggling financially. All of us are longing for the pandemic to end, and this longing is driving extraordinary work within the Faculty of Medicine. The development of a vaccine, the understanding of the virus, and the creation of new, exciting, and innovative ways of educating. Out of longing, great wonders have been willed. With every best wish, Martin.